Okay. Ooh, that needs to go silent.
Hey, family.
Okay. First, we're going to tag some folks. Hey, who's that? Bill Stanford, Tracy Reed, Sandra Tetler. What's going on, good people?
Oh, it's on already?
Good evening.
So when I'm in here, I thought I was by myself.
No. I just told you that.
Did y'all hear me?
If y'all did, don't say nothing. Shh. We're going to keep that a secret. We're going to keep that right here on the RPB. What's good, everybody? Happy Tuesday to everybody.
Yes.
I hope everybody is in a nice, warm, dry place. Just for the moment I am. And y'all see who I got with me. So right now, I'm just taking a moment to invite some folk up in here. Ronnie Carney, what's up? Wamira, Cynthia Tucker, what's going on, everybody? Good
Hello,
evening.
family. How are we?
Y'all know who this is?
How's everyone?
This is Donna Jackson. This is Mother Donna Jackson. Yes, good evening, Imaad, DVS, and Miss Jackson. That's Miss Cynthia Tucker. What's going on?
How are you?
That is a singing lady right there. You have if you get a minute, we got to go up to Papillon 25. I know where you hang out, lady.
Really?
Yep. Yvonne the Roots.
You got the lid now?
Oh my goodness. We'll get into that though another time. But there has been a lot going on. Like every time I've been trying to get this woman back to just sit down and talk for a month. Just to talk for a month. What's up, Donald? How you doing down there in Atlanta?
Fix the IG account.
You ain't been on the IG?
I've been on the IG account yet.
I created the IG account
keeping me busy.
for Mama Donna right here. Sent it to her in the text. Say, go ahead, log in, start posting.
Less than 24 hours, he did it. He was on top of his job. And my job just keeps on going.
It's all right. We're going to make it happen still.
Yes, we will.
It's all right. It's all right. So what have you been, what has been your primary focus? I know we were just talking about the little baby that got hit by the truck.
Right. On Sunday.
On Mother's Day.
Let's talk about that. There was a lot of chatter on the book in reference to the little girl that got hit Sunday morning, Mother's Day morning of all times. What was very hurtful. And someone took a picture of the baby laying in the street. And I just actually saw the photo yesterday, despite the fact that 6 million of y'all tagged me, but I just saw it. And I think there was outrage from the picture from our community, understandably, because, you know, sometimes we don't understand. But then by seeing it and seeing some of the captions around it, I think I better understand the intentions of the young man who did it. The baby was 2. She was alone. She ran into the street. She got hit. It was a truck. He kept going. I do not think, and I'm not speaking for him, but from what we're seeing, I do not think he intentionally hit her because the baby darted out into the street. And God, if you've never been part of that, it's a good thing, because hitting a child, hitting anybody, particularly when you're not trying to hit them, particularly a baby, takes you someplace else. So I just want to first say I understand everyone's immediate response to how I want to say it, to initially attack the person for taking the picture. I do, because I kind of was agreeing. But I think the intent of it was because the baby was by herself, and she was by herself, that there was no parent in the area immediately when that happened. I think the brother who took the initial picture thought was, let me get it out here and let's see where the parent is. I think that we all, and I caution myself, and that's why when we do the lives in the morning, I don't show the children's faces, because you never know what situation a person is in. You never know who's watching, all of that kind of stuff. And so because of that, I think the person wanted to try to get the family, someone from the area immediately there to know that there was something going on with the baby, so I did.
Okay.
So here's two sides to that. One, great idea, in attempting to get the family there immediately. Because I think the father was in the house and the mother may have been half a block away in the church, something like that. I don't know how the baby ran out, I don't know how they missed her, but that's the case that happened. They'll deal with that in investigation. You know, I'm not an investigation unit yet, so, you know, we won't.
Not yet.
We won't dissect.
Did you catch that?
But I think sometimes we have to be careful when we post stuff like that. And I'll just use a personal experience. My son did a tour in Iraq and Afghanistan. He did more than one, but he did several. And when the news used to always show the shootings and the planes being blown up and the trucks being blown up, although my son wasn't on the front line, he was a truck mechanic. So when you're showing a truck being blown up, that's connected to my child.
Right.
So I don't know if it's him. And I think the piece that we react to immediately is like, how could you do that? How would you put somebody up there? Why would we do that? What was the purpose? And like I said, again, I truly believe, I don't want to think anyone is that malice, but I truly believe the intention of putting the picture up was to alert the family to get there, that the baby was hurt. Because oftentimes shootings, stabbings, whatever, when there's car accidents, somebody falls, somebody gets sick, all of that. When there's an immediate reaction and that person has to go in the ambulance, what happens is when that person gets to the hospital for treatment, and if they're not a patient there and there's no medical record, they could get a person anesthesia. All right, we're going to do this, we're going to fix the knee, we're going to do that. And the person may be allergic.
Right.
And I think that sometimes we have to do that immediate response because you need to hurry up and get there. You need to, sometimes to get to the hospital, the emergency rooms, diabetes and so forth. You got to treat that immediately. But when you don't have a medical history of what else they're taking, sometimes that's what causes us into action. So I want to, because it was Mother's Day. Right. I want to put it on that side that the person really felt that they were doing a good deed and alerting us, and let's find this mother. But I think that's where we also as a community have to be ready to rally and respond and go out, respond to that scene, go store to store, house to house, and try to find the parents if they're not there, if that's the situation, or if it's an accident, try to find a family member, get them. And I think that's one area where we could partner. We could work a little bit with the police. I think that's one area we could definitely, where I don't think anybody would be in disagreement. I know that we have slow ambulance response times, and that causes outrage in areas and people in the street, and they're like, Lord, how long is it going to take? Blah, 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 blah. You might as well put your kid in the car and drive them. Sometimes police try to stop you from doing that. Then when you take the person to the hospital, if it's an accident or if it's a violent act, then now your car got to be sitting there for a couple of hours. So sometimes people don't react because they don't want to go through all of that and be looked at by the police department like, oh, I didn't do nothing wrong, I was just trying to get the baby there. Seen many people do that. They was riding by, that sort of thing happened, or it's a friend of the person who unfortunately got stabbed, shot, there was a fight, whatever, and they brought the person, and now my car has to physically be kept from me for maybe 24 to 48 hours. And a lot of people can't afford that, but people do it anyway because that's life-saving time to get that person there, because that's life-changing. Like a person having a stroke, if you see somebody, you're like, what's going on? They stop talking, they're drooping, they got pain in the right arm. That's the onset of a stroke, a heart attack. The quicker you can get that person there rather than sit at the house and wait over an hour, 45 minutes, a half hour for an ambulance to respond to your home. If you got the car, you live across the street, get that person in the car and take them. And accidents where you see people physically, had the accident, sometimes they say, it's better not to move them, to leave them there. There's some instances where we can let them wait, but there's some incidents where the more immediate medical attention is needed. So I just want us to, and I appreciate us being vigilant on things, but I want to think, because I don't know who took the picture initially. And I know a lot of people shared it. A lot of people shared it for how dare you put it up there. But then we got to understand, just like when we get the videos of abuse and so forth, you got to understand that every time you share it, because you want somebody else to see it, you're victimizing that person again. I think we had about 4 or 5 months ago, we had a young lady.
Could you say that one more time, please?
Yes, you victimize the person again.
Every time you share a video like that.
We had a young lady that was being raped. And I'm telling you, at least 300 people shared the video.
Oh my God.
So what happens is, I think initially most people, not everybody, some people are actually might know the person they're trying to shame them. I don't know. But we have to be careful when we do something like that, particularly in a horrific act like that, that we don't re-victimize the person, because that's what we're doing. And some aren't intentionally doing it. We just like, let me make sure everybody see this. But then again, let's remember, and one of the things that I've learned to do in my last 15 years that I've considered myself really good at is putting myself in everybody's position. I'm the victim. I'm the perpetrator. I'm the mother of that child. I'm the father of that child. I'm the aunt. I'm a family member to the person. I'm a family member to the perpetrator. I'm the police officer responding. You know, all of that has to come into the mix for us to think. And when you got to make a 2-second judgment as to whether or not I share it, whether or not I say something, oh my God, I saw this. Exactly what do I do with it? And I think we're learning that when we see videos like that, we need to share that, give that to the local authorities. Sometimes they do the right thing, sometimes they don't. And I understand that anger and that side as well. But I just think that, you know, the Mother's Day picture of the little girl, we've seen several videos of our children being assaulted. And that's their mantra on, what is it? What's their social media site where they put it? Snapchat and
Instagram.
And what's the World Star? They're famous. Even our white counterparts' children now are posting their fight bus videos and fighting in front of school and all that, you know, because it translates over almost everything, crosses community lines now because of the social media frenzy that we're all in. So I just want to say that for the record while we're talking, that I really think the intention of the young man who took the picture of the baby in the street was to identify him, to get the family, to respond to that scene, to know that something had happened. At the beginning, the officer said critical. It was, you know, it was all kind of speculation. So I don't think the baby was moving too much. We don't know, you know. So I think everybody's first thing was like, oh my God. But then the second reaction is, as all of us as parents, like, where the hell y'all at?
Exactly.
Like, how the 2-year-old get out
That's
the house,
first thing I want
into
to know.
the street, right? And I think that was his first reaction, and maybe a little anger. Let me get this picture, put it out there. One, because whose baby is this? And two, how dare you let this baby, you know, in a public service announcement, just like when we see the news, when we got the kid in the back of the car, down in the Jewish community in Connecticut, someplace, they left the baby in the car for over 2 hours, the baby died. The mother and the father went in the house, forgot the baby was in there. So, you know, it happens. But then some of us are like, well, how do you forget the baby in the car? Yeah, but it happens. It happens. And with the stress that we're under day to day, unfortunately, it's happening a little bit more than it ever has before. And I think because we have these outlets, our talk shows, our ways of communicating now, we can get a text message across where we couldn't 20 years ago and all that other kind of stuff. I think now that information is more instant.
It is, and we have to be, and we have to be responsible with it as well, though. I think it's part of what you're saying. Let me just say hi to people that came in: Nicole, Esther, Michelle, Tanya Champagne. Tanya Champagne said, she said, "Thank you for the work that you do with us here."
Tell her absolutely. I love it.
And everybody else who came in,
so I can keep doing this because I love it.
We gonna make that. We're gonna do something.
Yeah,
absolutely. Two things.
Wilson, how are you?
Really quickly. First, share the video.
Yes.
Right now, I need, and it shows up in your comments when you share the video. It like says it over your name, so we'll know if you share the video. But no, I'm just kidding with you. No, share the video. No. The other thing is, again, for today, because I don't have a producer with me today, so this will be uploaded later to YouTube. And for now, you can, if you want to call in, you can call in 973-634-8561 today. To call in if you want to talk to Mama Donna. If you have any questions, you want to add your 2 cents to what we're talking about. We still got a while to be here. So we just getting started. So what's up to everybody out there on Facebook? What's up to everybody who will see this on Ustream? What's up to everybody who will see this on GS Radio, SWA Radio, and YouTube? because we're trying to make some things happen. You know what I mean?
Hey, family.
So, again, share the video, share the video, share the video. Hey, Tanya Carter. And Cynthia Tucker said, yes, where were the parents? Obvious question.
Yeah.
So did they find the parents? Did they locate them?
The mom was less than a half a block away in the church.
Mm-hmm.
The dad came out, I think, at some point, and he and the guy with the phone, and I think another young lady who were there, like responding more. You're outside, you see something like that happen, and that's a good thing about us. We're getting more. We are become, in a city where we always criticize, people don't get involved and people don't do that. I'm seeing, I don't know about everybody else, but I'm beginning to see more. I am. There was a time where you just walk by, okay, man. There was a shooting on extended family member of mine, my child, on Chancellor and Maple, and the young lady that I'm being told responded right away. Went to try to aid the young man until the emergency response team got there. Thank you. God bless you. There have been other incidents. I know on Smith Street about 3 or 4 years ago, a young man got shot in the street and the lady hopped right to it. So we do have some good people out there that don't always get the accolades, don't always get seen, and that's not something you should video. But there was a young lady out there that jumped right to it, CPR, whatever she could do. And there have been incidents like that.
Yeah.
Car accidents, people are responding, and
I witnessed
that's the kind of thing we need.
The kids coming out of school when there was a fight on 18th Avenue.
Okay.
Parents that were driving by stopped their cars and blocked traffic so that they could get out the cars and stop the fight.
Right, absolutely. That's right up my alley.
That's exactly. I thought of you immediately.
Thank you, parents.
3 cars. This is 18th Avenue in the middle of school getting out, rush hour, the beginning of rush hour, everything. It was a minivan, it was a car in front of me, a minivan, and some other car on the other side of the street. Everybody stopped, jumped out their vehicles, went over to the kid, and the guy is getting out the car. He's screaming, "Where are the parents? Where are the parents?" Right. He got right in the middle of them kids. Y'all ain't doing this right here. Broke him up, sent him on the way. Got back in his car. That's exactly.
We have got to start stepping up and letting these kids know we're not scared of them.
We're not scared of them. I ain't scared of you, mother.
Now, we might not knock you out. I'm going to have to call your mother first. And God help you if your mother knows. Oh, Miss Donna, yes, that's my baby. Come to grandma. At the end of that phone,
listen.
And the kid be like, and they're like, is this Miss Jackson? I'll be like, yeah. She said, go ahead and whoop them. So all I'm going to tell y'all is it's just time. Our children want the discipline. They want the accountability. They want us when they standing out there and they reckless and they out of control. And I know some of them are disrespectful, and many of us say, you know what, I'm not going to say nothing because let them go ahead. But check them. Then let them know that it's not okay. And do it consistently. Absolutely. On the bus. Oh my God, the elders on the bus, I feel for you. Oh my gosh, yes. Because they say that, the 99 bus that goes over to drop those children off on, over there at the school on Clifton Ave. Your children are a little out of pocket. The elders are complaining on that 99 bus about your children and their actions and their mouths and so forth on that bus. And I think some of us that when our children are away from us, they're going to try it. And they're going to do it. Of course. They're going to be MF for this and MF for that. And I think we just need to have that conversation with our children. I think if we had a meeting with New Jersey Transit and asked them to pull some of them videos off of these buses, the 13, 31. To see how your kid is acting when you're not around. Kids, but just to see your child. I tell parents all the time, you got to roll up on that school. Not coming in there to fight the teacher because they took your kid's phone because they bad as hell on the phone doing stuff they're not supposed to do, and you know it. That's right. You know your child. That's right. You know our kid. When the teacher called you, it shouldn't even be no problem. Go ahead and pop them. That's right. Because remember when you went to South 17th Street School while I was over at Blessed Sacrament, we was all getting popped. Remember Mr. Wright had that paddle in that office at South 17th Street School, just like Sister Donna Marie and Sister Marie Raphael over at Blessed Sacrament had the pointer, the ruler, the yardstick. We was getting popped with anything. Then if you got popped at school, you was getting popped at home. I don't care if you went to public school, Catholic school, private school, or whatever you went to back during our times, because we 99. You was in trouble when you got home. Then you had Miss Mary and Miss Mabel in the window. Before you got to the house, they knew what happened. They was on you. And then when your mother and father got home, you was getting it again.
Now, Tanya said,
I don't know why we can't get back to those days.
We have to get back to those days. It's imperative.
The whoopings got to start again.
And Tanya said a lot of the times it's the parents with the problems, though. Joshua said half of these kids really be thinking that they're the gangsters. And me growing up in West Africa, if you would have put them there, I think that's what he's trying to say, acting up, their mother's friends or father's friends will check you.
Right.
These kids ain't getting checked, is what he said.
Yes.
And he said his other comment is, I blame the parents too.
Right.
That's where it starts. The parents are a child's first teacher. What did Louis Decree said? Old school, that would work. But today, if you touch these kids, jail you go. Or the mother is not but a few years older than her child, and grandma is only 45.
Right. Blocker said it's sad, but we do have a lot of our moms. Love you, Donna Jackson. I'm sharing as always. Thank you.
Oh, Jihad Muhammad.
Rise up. Oh, come on, not today. Don't start your stuff.
Jihad,
Put
stop
your glasses on. Yes, I do need them. The light is in my face, so that's not helping me at all.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine, baby. It's fine.
I just want to make sure they see us.
Team Baraka, it's fine. Yeah, that's cool. No problem, sweetheart. We talking about issues today. Had nothing to do with anybody personally.
Nah.
So, oh, come on, Janelle, stop it. Hello, family. How's everybody? So, just trying to read some of the comments. Jihad, you can call me offline, sweetheart. We can talk. Who I work for the people, Jihad. Don't start today. Don't start my work forever. Don't start. I don't know what's the issue, but we can talk offline, sweetheart.
Jihad
we talking about what's going on in my community.
Jihad plays devil's advocate a lot.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah, he's one of those cats that just makes sure all the issues are covered.
Gotcha. So I don't work for anybody. No checks coming in my house. You want to see my Social Security statement? It says 0 for a whole lot of years, Jihad.
And Tanya Carter says, that's the truth. We've gotten away from being a community that supports each other. Nicole Jenkins Watson, hey, babe. She says, we are referring to children raising children. Our era from the 70s, we were raised by our parents as primary and the community was secondary. It was law. That's very true. Just joined. What's the topic? Sonia Melanin. We are talking. Well, the topic had we began talking about the little baby that was killed. And
no, she's still alive.
Oh, she's still.
Yeah.
I'm not speaking that into. I apologize. I'm so glad that she's still alive. I apologize. That is my bad.
No, that's fine.
Thank God that she's alive.
Amen.
But okay. But we started talking about the videos and people sharing videos and the responsibility of not sharing videos that are harmful or that re-victimize people. And we got into talking about the children and the issues that the children are facing. We begin to, we're uncovering, it seems like a lot of people are saying, like the issue, not that the issue is with the parents, but that the education of the children begins obviously with the parents. The 2-year-old baby is okay, Cynthia.
Yeah, the 2-year-old is okay. And Wadia is saying, because they need to give us back, our parents back our rights now.
Let's talk about that.
Absolutely. So let's talk about when this thing really began to fall apart. So 1975, 1985, African-American families were doing fairly well. You could take care of your family with $30,000 a year. Most of us were in 2-parent households at that time. Mom and dad were there for the most part, unless your dad was in the military and then he was gone for that little bit of time. But most of us had a dual income coming in, and or your dad worked enough and mom didn't have to work and she was stay-at-home mom. That's taking us into the 80s. Let's think about the movie Claudine. All of that is tied in together, absolutely, Wadia. And we began to have to play the system game because then the incomes weren't quite enough.
Right.
We applied for food stamps. And maybe the dad left the house and maybe there were multiple children and multiple dads and they weren't there. Then maybe mom found someone who wanted to come in and help her. The movie Claudine, it all. And then when the welfare worker came, because then they came out to check. many in a hurtful way, beginning in that early 80s, not a helpful way. Because for me, if you walk into someone's house, there's not enough food there, you should be like, oh, Donna, you need a couple more food stamps. Let's go out and get some more food. Let's do what we need to do to secure that family. Let's provide that service. Let's provide that help over. A lot of people say, oh, that's my tax dollars. I'm taking care of these people. Why should I take care of these people? Well, guess what? It's our tax dollars too. Because even that person that's on public assistance, and the majority of the people on public assistance do not look like you and I. Right. I don't know why we think we the minority in the country in terms of percentages. We 20% of the people over here. Latinos may be another 15%, and then the other 60% is the white Caucasian race. That we make up the total diaspora of food stamps. We just react on what we see in terms of negative in our community, and I think that in the 80s. They saw a strength in the family. They saw a teaching of bringing our children over, a rites of passage, a giving the family history. You had your grandmother, grandfather involved, and aunts and uncles, and it was a favorite grandma house. We was all going over there. Mommy had to go to work and so forth. So we had the family net to kind of keep us together. We had the projects still up there, and I don't care what people tell me. The projects were a community within themselves. Grandma might have been in building 2. I was in building 6.
That's right.
Auntie might have been in building 10. We may have all been in Columbus Homes on 7th Avenue. Then Auntie, my mother's sister, was over in Stella Wright. We only could go over there through permission. Then we had a group of another family over in Hayes Homes. But inside those walls, we were all family. And I only had the bread, you had the jelly, and Miss Cynthia had the peanut butter. All our kids were eating. Our whole family was eating. We did what we had to do. You had the chicken wings. I had to grease the frying pan. Somebody else had the rice. Somebody else had the string beans or whatever. And even back then, our family made sure we had a wholesome meal it was everything there if we could have it.
Right.
On the day when we could just have peanut butter and jelly, we had peanut butter and jelly. The day we had fried bologna, we had fried bologna. You throw that bologna up in that pot.
Nothing cheese on it real quick.
And you got what? What if you had some cheese?
If you had cheese.
The cheese.
Some days you get that block cheese and just.
Yes. Oh my God. The best macaroni and cheese. I think they should bring on sidebar. Y'all think they should bring that family line cheese back? But we were then. So as they saw the families beginning to be strengthened, they saw the incomes coming in and people doing better and having the ability to do better. I think the system said, we're going to stop that. I think the modern day 80 Jim Crow was DIFUS. That's me.
I'm going to let that hang in the air.
The modern day Jim Crow was DIFUS.
I just want to read what.
Let's hire some of the people that look like y'all. Let's hire some of the people that look like them. And let's have some white people. And we're going to go in here and we're going to regulate how these families go. Go ahead, read the comment.
That's so scary.
Yes.
So a child doesn't need a dad because the family needs assistance. This is Cynthia Tucker. That's how the cycle starts. Daddy is gone, so little girls get an affection outside the home. Next thing she's pregnant, daddy is gone. Next thing the son is in the gang. There was a comment from Tanya Carter up here, and I'm trying to get back to it. Oh, here it is. So that's from Cynthia. Hopefully it'll come back down in a minute. My screen is freezing. But she said something about she don't care who is watching her. She's going to be any child to hers and any child in her village if that's what she needs. That was Tanya Carter.
Tanya, that's right.
That's right. That's right.
I had my phone with me today because I forgot on the floor. I will borrow it. Absolutely. Get them where they get it. They got people. Pop them kids here, come DIFUS.
See?
Absolutely, Michael. But we have to, God bless you too. But we have to, George is saying you're so right about the 31, too many fights and stops coming to South Orange and Livingston. Do the fights, that's true. Smoke to the council person in South Orange about the fights because we missed the 31 and being able to go to Livingston Mall. And that's how some of our actions, because, what's going on. Yes, Dwayne, I do work for God. Amen.
I know that's right.
And the people. But let me see. I know.
Now I want to go expand on this comment from Tanya Carter.
Go ahead, Tanya.
Tanya Carter said the welfare system wasn't for us, and we do not make up the overwhelming majority of people that are still on the system. That's the lie that continues to be perpetuated. Hell, look at the corruption of the Jewish community in Asbury Park a couple of years ago. That's a very good point. And for those of you who don't know, them suckers was down there milking the system like it was no tomorrow. Section 8, food stamps, getting like $1,200 to $1,500 a month in food stamps.
Remember South Orange? We got our ass whooped. Yes, we did.
Yeah.
The minute you whooped your kids, they want to remove them from us at home. A lot of parents scared to do so. Absolutely. And there's been, and let me just say this, there are some real serious issues within DIFUS because I've had students call DIFUS saying that their mother was yelling at them, and I was just outraged that they even responded. I'm like, you really came to this woman's house because the daughter said she yelled at her for doing the homework. And I guess that the law is that any report of abuse, and that's verbal abuse,
has to be
that they have to respond. Okay, that's well and fine. But when you respond, you got to be careful how you respond. So I had a situation a couple of years ago, and that's why I love my community so much, where DIFUS responded to a house with a daughter called, 14 years old, look fast behind. Mother told her to get them dishes done in that kitchen and get that homework done. She go, I don't gotta do nothing. Then assassin back and forth, cussed at the mother a couple of times. So absolutely, getting that pop. Yes, I wouldn't care if it's 1842, 1892, 1999, 2019. You getting that?
I'll body you.
So they came, and unfortunately, I said to the mother, she said, you know what? Let's let her go. You know, she tough. Let's let her go. So she get the bag packed. What you packing? Oh, you ain't buy none of that?
That's right.
You ain't buy none of that. So she had the nice sneakers on. No, take them off.
Take those
off. Go get the old ones upstairs.
Uh-huh.
Go get the other sneakers.
That's right. I put on
just
that.
got them. One pair of panties, one bra in his bag, and what you got on, how much you gonna wash that out tomorrow? Because we ain't sending you with no clothes.
No.
So the lady was like, oh no, we don't want to take her. No, you gonna take her. Did she want to say she wanted to go? Let her go.
Let her go.
So before she got to the door, to the car, because you had the inside, you got the first door, you walk to the hallway, then it's the apartment door. When they was walking back out with this baby, before she got to the DIFUS car, the girl called the DIFUS worker a bitch. They turning back around to come back to the house. I was in that hallway.
I know that.
So the mother, let's go back in. Whoa! We ain't taking her back.
No!
Nobody's home. She said, Donna, why you? No, we not here. We not taking them. Because you have to understand. Sometimes these kids think this, and parents, because I know it, because I've been to family court with them. I've been to juvenile court with them. Sometimes it's something up here, and sometimes it's something down here, depending on how that police officer write that report, is whether you're going to jail or whether you're going home. Go ahead.
But I'm trying to get to your comments. Hold on. To pay attention to that's going on in this country. Now, we're talking about. It
said it takes a village, but the system took the village.
Ooh.
Now the kids is raising themselves. We got our ass whooped even in school till they came up with this DIFUS mess. Absolutely, we're there. Absolutely. And you know what? And none of us is hurting for it either. None of this is hurting for us.
Nicole
Matthias is out of South Orange, one of our good friends that takes care of all our public service concerns. Thank you so much, Jordan Matthias. He said you're so right. Stop letting the schools raise the kids. Also spiritual. Oh,
yes.
George, we're gonna do a whole show on how all of us used to have to go to church and or the mosque, and we was going. You might have mumbled under your mouth, but your parents did not hear you, but you was going.
Now, Nicole works for social service. I'm not sure which agency. We don't need to say it, but she says, trust me, not all investigators function to such capacity.
Absolutely.
We are required to respond according to areas of risk and safety. I have no issue with holding a child accountable for their actions. Cynthia Tucker says, love that the system took the village. And that's what I want to get into, because they're taking things away from us. And I put up a post about what's going on down in Georgia with the abortion and stuff. And my thing is, I don't think women are mad enough. I just don't see how Somebody regulating what you can do with your body and at what point. Most women don't even, they're talking about 6 weeks when they can hear the heartbeat of the fetus. That after that is they want it to be illegal. How many of y'all knew y'all were pregnant at 6 weeks?
Right, absolutely. No.
So by the time you find out, it's illegal. That's what I'm talking. That's what I'm for the people, because somebody was like, "Oh, y'all are blowing it out of proportion." I don't have a vagina and I don't carry kids. I'm pissed off about it. I think somebody with a reproductive system of that magnitude might want to be a little bit upset, but it's the same thing with DIFUS. It's the law coming in to how you do your thing with your family and ad infinitum, telling you what to do. It's slowly taking away your personhood.
Right.
Is what it is. Slowly, it's not slowly, it's very quick, it's very upfront. They're not masking it at all. What they know is that you're going to take it.
Yeah.
So, or what they believe anyway. I'm sorry.
No, you good. Let me read Teresa, and then let me ask. I'm going to ask the question. Please start responding so we can have a real discussion. In light of what Imaad just said, how do we feel? We can monitor our children all we want. There are some hours of the day they're out of our sight. So how do we feel about a 10, 11, 12, and 13-year-old having a child? Because it is happening.
Yes.
And there are some parents who are like, okay, you pregnant, I'm gonna let you have this baby. And then sometimes it's a situation where the baby was pregnant, child really didn't realize it or did realize it and then hid it from the parent as long as they could. And sometimes we are so busy in our day-to-day lives, it's hard to understand, but we're so busy in our day-to-day lives, we don't see that. So we do have children, I'm not even talking about young adults, we have children having babies. And with this abortion issue that Imaad is just talking about down in Georgia, and this is it's a valid federal question right now. Please forgive me because I'm over here on this side. But they are talking about taking away a woman's right to abort. Now, we're gonna say that's okay for rape. We're gonna say that's all right for sex assault. Or is there a difference between rape and sexual assault?
Incest.
Incest for a child. We're gonna say the 10-year-old can't abort. The 10-year-old's body can't even handle what we're doing that. The welfare system wasn't for us. It was for Nazi women when their husbands went to war, and those projects were for Nazi women when their husbands returned from the war. You're right. Oh my goodness, let me don't say the wrong name. Teresa, absolutely. I just used the sense of community and family that we had when we were there. The late 70s, even into the early 80s, we kind of held it together. They really started pouring those drugs in the 80s to really, again, I think, destroy that family structure, that togetherness that we had, all for one for all type of mentality at that time. We had our drug dealers in our areas. Yes, we did, unfortunately. But we need to handle things a little differently. So, as the young lady said on your feed, was it Nicole? The DIFUS worker?
Yeah.
Okay, Nicole, I totally agree with you. I know some wonderful people in the DIFUS system, and I think that a lot of times what happens is the worker may want to do one thing, the supervisor even may want to do another thing for a family in terms of assistance, helping with back rent, helping the person with rent and security, realizing that this person's maybe second time in the DIFUS office is coming from an abusive situation that wasn't evident a year ago because the parent wasn't talking about it. And in terms of helping with relocation, people needing furniture and that kind of thing, I noticed that from county to county it's different. I work with a couple of families from Passaic County, and I'm telling you, them DIFUS workers are like, okay, yeah, we family spouse, we're gonna do this, we're gonna move, and it wasn't as tedious as it was in Essex and Hudson County. Now, I'm not going to say that there are not systemic things in place that don't allow that to happen, but I think that from what I see in the interactions that I have with families, I think that we need to do just a better job on both sides. Community meetings, we need to put a citizen board not review, a citizen board in place, a client board, if I want to call it that, where there's a couple of community people on there, but then there's clients, previous and current clients of welfare, of DIFAS, of all the social service agencies that we use, so that we can all come in and get a refresher from the caseworker's point, because some of us come in there, B, you gonna give me my stamps today, I'm gonna punch you in your face.
Yeah.
So we know you deal with that, because we know that teachers deal with that with our kids coming in the classroom. Oh, who you think I ain't doing no ass homework for you? So we all are dealing with the brunt of pressure of the community from today. You have some people that work every day doing their best trying, and when that pressure gets too much on you, God forbid you're doing everything you're supposed to do, and then just let one little peg in that puzzle fall over, where it's all not holding together, and any one of us could be subject to losing that. A parent getting sick, losing a parent, losing a child. And I'm not talking about just to violence, I'm talking about period. And then having to come back around and try to get supports from the system to try to get through. And everybody, down to the government can't do everything. Well, damn it, the government spent enough money on BS stuff that they could put some more resources in places for families to be able to go to get grief counseling. Because one of the things we definitely don't do in our community, and it's not accessible enough, although it's beginning to happen, is we don't have enough grief counseling for families. And sometimes the grief is for a family that's not a victim of violence.
Right.
My mother got sick. My father got sick. My aunt got sick. How about my sister that lived next door to me that ain't my sister, but we like that, and something happened to her or something happened to me, and now she's going through. So we don't have that, and I think we become so personalized now that we're kind of afraid to go in the room and share. But I think we have to do that. I think that we got to release some of this stuff that we holding in. I think we got to get in the room. I think we got to stand up. And I know Teresa, my sister, who I love to death, is doing Let's Heal this Saturday. And she's going to choke me because it's in Irvington at a location from 3 to 8. But I will post it on my page. It's called Let's Heal. But I think we all have to get in the room maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, maybe once a month, and just scream. Let it out. Just exhale. Everybody. And then I think we need to sit down and see where we have the commonalities, because there's more commonalities than differences. And then build from there to see how we can bring this thing back in, to see what from the past we need to bring forward. Respect is definitely something that we have to do. Our children, and I have to say this, every child doesn't come from a family. They're not. I have never seen as many children in the last 10 years in the 8th grade graduation go to the graduation and there's nobody there. And I'm trying to tell you, I haven't seen that.
Oh my God.
And I'm trying to tell you, I've seen that in North New Jersey. So if it's happening in North, it's happening in another place. But I'm telling you, we have students who come to graduation and there's no one there. Not a sibling, not a parent, not a grandparent. There's no one there at the ceremony. That's heartbreaking for our children to make it, because some families, the children don't graduate to 8th grade. To go to high school graduations, and many of our children, even just now, there's a couple of kids, somebody just inboxed me today that need to, they haven't covered their graduation course. So, I'll put a little thing up, but I'll put some up later. So if y'all want to inbox me $8 everybody, then we'll have enough. But kids who don't have enough to pay for their, some of them gonna miss the prom because it's too late, but their 8th grade trip, their cap and gown, their yearbook, those kind of momentums that you kind of want to keep when you're doing that kind of thing. And those are kind of, that's real talk that's going on right now. So we have to be more supportive. Sabrina says DIFAS is a joke, and depending on your situation and you're dealing with them, it is sad. I had to deal with DIFAS about 3 years ago, trying to, make some things right for my nephew, and you do what you have to do. It's a burdensome thing. Dealing with the people from Essex County was one way, but then when the folks came from Camden County up here, I had to get a little attitude. Like, what you talking about?
Wow.
So, there are good people inside of every system. We'll say that. all the teachers ain't no good, all the doctors ain't no good, all the nurses. We can't, my mother told me about 15, 20 years ago, you can't say all.
That's
when
right.
you say all teachers, you're talking about your mother. And I was like, I never thought about it like that. You are a teacher. So when I say all teachers don't care, I'm talking about my mom. About to get popped.
Yeah. Let me. I want to send a shout out to Louis Decrees, one of the guys that's in here. He says respect is due to a dog, and you're gonna respect me. No child shall curse me. No one. I can't talk loud to a cop, but my kid can talk loud to me. The reason is we have no rights to our kids. The state and government owns them. Tamara Wyatt.
Okay.
Hey, Sarah. She says, so true. But then as a people, we have to begin to acknowledge that we have or experience these issues, just like you're saying. Like there's no trauma center so that people can express this is going on. That's kind of a denial.
Right.
And within our community, it's a denial when we don't have the services to attend to these needs that we have.
Right.
And Nicole Watson Jenkins, whom I love, the goal was implemented to destroy our family unit. It was like genocide in the Black community, and that's when severe abuse cases took form. Judge Judy handled a lot of my cases, and as the ultimate last resort, the era back then was a serious circus, and our children suffered. Then came the AIDS and HIV plague, which hit us again by storm. And again, our children suffered.
Right.
She's not from Essex County, but she says even in her county, Tamara Wyatt says it's happening here on the West Coast as well.
Right. Oh wow, yeah, and it is. And so Wadia says, but hell, now you have to go get custody, and right in line with Nicole just said, of your own kids. Since there was when there's another problem, it's a part of the population control. Tara is saying it's called the New World Order. Absolutely, we talked about that about 4 months ago here. Absolutely against it. Yes, we are. That's in Alabama. They can Heartbeat Act. Oh, the Heartbeat Act. Okay, Alan, we have to look that up. Let me put my phone up.
Yeah, we don't have to.
We talk about my eyes. They can get it in the Heartbeat Act. There are court lawsuits challenging the law. Women Bill to Educate, looking for Trade Foundation, looking for women and girls. Right, Munira is doing a women's trade bill to education class. Absolutely, we're gonna promote that near the end of doing announcements. When they took prayer out of schools, yes, Mary, absolutely, this is true. When they took prayer out of schools, and one woman did that, all hell broke loose in the schools, and they need to put prayer back as well as God back into the system, and you will see a great change. I think we should. I think what's going to end up having to happen, Mary, because I would like to see that happen. There is someone out there that had a petition that was going around to get signatures for that. Right, they overturned Roe versus Wade. Thank you, Teresa. I couldn't think it was
Roe versus Wade.
I think what's going to happen, we're going to have a moment of silence for faith, because I think that in order to respect all religions, it's not that we're going to do a Christian prayer and then a Muslim prayer and then not respect all the others that's in the room. And I don't think that's something we need to fight about. I think we just want to have a prayer.
Right. Or meditate on something.
Do we want to say, God bless us, and then, somebody else who doesn't want to use the word God? I don't know how we do that. But I do think that what we could do is just have a moment of silence in school. I know they're not going to let us do that right now, but I think if we don't tell them, it's a secret.
Right.
We just start having
everybody just.
We about to go back out here and have this prayer on these corners. In the real, hey, Dar, we about to go back out here and have this prayer on these corners like we have been doing for some years. We all need to be more involved, proactive. Absolutely. DIFAS move different with Black families than white families. And yeah, they do with dear. They're a little more careful sometimes because those folks got a little bit more money to make a little bit more trouble. But also in line with DIFAS, I think DIFAS has done some really good things in regards to some families, and the families have gone to family court. And we can't talk about that today because we don't got enough time, but when I come back, let's talk about these judges in family court that are destroying families. The judge, the DIFAS recommends that the children not be returned back to the family, and that's in the case of, and I know Michael won't mind. Love you, Michael. If I talk about it briefly, just real quick, when young Michael got killed in Baxter and Bradley Court, 3 years ago, I believe it is, maybe a little more. So forgive me for not remembering the time. The court ordered the children back to the mother. The DIFAS recommendation was not that. DIFAS recommended that the children remained in the system and attempting to be placed, and they didn't do that. And the same judge, Kavanaugh, because I'll say her name, sue me. I got about $8. You could get it because I said it. We have some real horrible, vicious family court judges in Essex County in particular, and they have destroyed families over the years. We have judges that were taking babies 10 months old and ordering them into the custody of the fathers. And when you have a 10-month-old girl, not that the father can't take care of them, down there in that area, and something happens, who you talking to now, and who's putting the medication on, and so forth. And some fathers aren't comfortable and wouldn't be comfortable as a man, cleaning down in that area with a Q-tip and so forth. And we all grown here, so don't start y'all shenanigans. But the family court judges are, and especially in Essex County, I know firsthand, are instrumentally responsible for destroying families, even more than DIFAS, as well as of children, because they've had recommendations before them saying do not send the child back, because the caseworker and the case supervisor did what they're supposed to do, their due diligence. I would rather err on the side of caution. Now, I'm gonna be mad because you won't let my kid come home, but they saw a little something. They weren't easy with me. I'm not gonna be calm when you tell me my kid ain't coming back home. But if it takes another 6 months for that to happen, I need to prove myself a little bit more. I'd rather do that than you send the child back to me. I'm going through something mentally, and then less than a day the kid home with me, 2 days the kid, I don't have food to now feed all these children. You say, okay, take them back, but you didn't give me any resources to take them back, because DIFAS was like, we're not sending them back. So when that situation happens, and then now the kid's crying, and they're like, I want to eat, Mom. And then the one that won't shut up, I'm about to get you. Because I have my breaking point, because it's 7 of y'all, it's 6 of y'all. Now, I know some of y'all in the feed, you shouldn't have that many kids. I sure shouldn't. But at the end of the day, that's what I have. That's the hand I'm dealt. That's what I did. That's the kids, not the mistakes, but that's some of the choices that I made in my life that maybe I should not have made, but the children are here now. And I can't penalize them. But if I'm not mentally ready, when you return the kids to me, you need to walk in my house and see what the hell in there. Even if you don't agree with the court. So these judges have to be held responsible for the decisions and the death decisions that they have made, in particular in Essex County Court.
Now, a question was posed from Cynthia Tucker. She said, well, it's not a question, but she said she wants to make a contribution. Please tell her how. I'm not sure if that
$8 million. You know that? I'm just joking. I'll let you know. I'll inbox you.
And you have some comments. Tanya Carter says, well, I went to a women's meeting that was given by the Board of Ed. University has mental health services that you can walk in, and they are offered on a sliding scale. Louis Decree says, how about teach these kids? You have kids walking across the 12th grade stage and book tell time, so you think it's bad now. Wait until those kids become adults. I know that's right, Louis. He says, I know this family well. This family will give them back to his mom and her man killed this kid. I think that was just in the news recently too. Nicole Watson Jenkins says, FYI, Tom Williams with the green eyes was my director / mentor at DIFAS in Newark, New Jersey. I swear his team trained me appropriately, and that's the best teaching I ever received as a Newark native. Trust me, unsure what is going on now, but I left appreciative of my skills. Tanya Carter says, that's right. The guy that you were just talking about, Michael, that's her cousin. And she says you and you were and have supported him. Thanks, Miss Donna.
Oh, absolutely, sweetie. And if I got I don't know if it was 3. So if anything that was incorrect in terms of time for that pass, and I apologize, but yeah, it was sad because that was a order that was given by a judge for those children to be returned, and it should not have happened in less than I believe less than 48 hours. That incident happened with him being returned home. It's a tragedy, and every day we see these things happening that don't happen. And then on the other hand, when some are being so, and I totally agree, Nicole, we have some outstanding people in North. We do. I mean, I could call some names, but I wouldn't dare because they still work there. And if the supervisor, the manager probably asking them all, how you know her? Because when I walk in the office, they be like, so that's why I try not to go as much. But the other thing is the family unification process needs to be a lot better in terms of reaching out to the families so that the children can stay somewhat within the family, even when there are egregious acts that happen. There's been some cases where the mother just will not get off drugs and the children can't go back to the mother. Okay, fine. So sometimes the aunts, the grandmothers, and other family members want to step in, and sometimes, depending on where that process is being really, really difficult. I had a real great friend, Miss Tyler Farrell, love her. She was trying to recover some of her grandchildren from the system, and unfortunately, in less than a 2-year time, some of them have been adopted, and I didn't think. DIFIS, I didn't think DIFIS moved that quickly, but that was so wrong and so heartbreaking for her, and her family to have had to go through that. China says not only that, still let the parents see the children while they are in jail. I believe that we are responsible for cultivating our youth. Yes, we are, Munira. Samuel Nash, okay, absolutely. Hey, Pastor Ali, love you. We need to create employment opportunities. Yes, we do. Hey, Cisco, love you. Go ahead.
Cynthia Tucker said, DVS, find out how I can give. I don't have $8 million, but God knows how to take a little from my heart and multiply.
Cynthia, that's what I was saying.
I love it. Absolutely.
We're posting up in a second because I don't quite know it all the way. We're going to put it in the feed in a minute.
Okay.
You are so, Robert Lorenzo says, you are so real and speak in terms that are true and can be supported by everyone. A moment of silence would be great and inclusive for everyone's beliefs. Yeah, I believe that, Robert. I just don't, I know sometimes, because I know that there was a time when my Muslim brothers and sisters were coming to the school board meetings in several areas, North, East Orange. I remember them being in Montclair, and even a couple of my Islamic family members came down to the state board looking for Ramadan and the Eid to be celebrated as a holiday. The children being off, and as a matter of fact, North Public Schools just put it on the calendar that the day of the Eid, which I believe falls during the week this year, because of the cycle of days. Don't let me say the days because I'm wrong, or y'all look, Donna, it's 45 days, it's 42. Shut up, I'm just doing my best. Nobody. But the fortunate piece is, with that little sidebar with y'all crazies, is that this year our Muslim children will be allowed to watch, the school's gonna be closed, and our Muslim children will be allowed to celebrate the Eid feast without missing a day from school. I think it's a step in the right direction, and I think that the best way to just cover everyone, I know there's some schools who have made prayer areas for children during Ramadan. They let the children go into another room during lunch so that there's not so much because they're fasting. I think that we have to just accommodate all faiths. I think that many of us of the Christian faith begin to fast as well during the Lenten season, which is what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to cuss as much. We're not supposed to drink as much. We're not supposed to pop the kids as much, but kind of get a little waving in there. But I think that, all of us are trying to show some restraint and get better in our faith. And that's not this show today, but I'm trying to say this, that all of us who have faith, we better start standing on it, and we better start standing up with it, because this evil is pervasive in our community. It's taking over. It's shutting us down, and we're not pushing back enough people of faith. And I don't care what your faith is, we all got to push back. We cannot keep sitting back just letting this thing roll through here. We had that Legionnaires disease at True Nevada. We should have went down there and declared that Legionnaires off that building. We had Like I said, we did the right thing. Everybody was praying for the 2-year-old. That's what we're supposed to jump right into that mode. We can get there if we can get there, help out with the situation if we can, but we're supposed to move into prayer mode on everything, because prayer does. Our prayers get answered. And when you're talking to the Creator, whoever that is for you, and you ask for that intervention, it happens when you're sincere. It happens when you talking.
Say that.
It happens when you have a relationship with Allah, God, Yahweh, whomever the name of your Lord and Savior is. Not stepping on nobody's toes, but whatever we call him, her, it. Because some people, it's not a him, it's a her. I ain't got time. Y'all don't start. But y'all don't start. Please don't start. Because I'm on page 436. And on page 436, in somebody's book of John, it says faith without works is dead. And in the Quran, on page 529, and it ain't on that page either exactly, it says that we are also supposed to work within our community for the betterment of the people. So I think we just mush those two together, which is kind of sort of saying the same old thing. And there's the similarities between the books, the Torah, the Bible, and the Quran. And I don't know it all, and I'm not even trying out for pastor today.
No, that's right.
Or tomorrow, because I don't have time to study that stuff. Y'all know my lane. I'm over here. But I think that seriously, if all of us just stepped out on our face in the areas that we're talking about today, the child abuse, the DIFAS system, we need to get some good people in there. I know you will make a difference. Nicole is the testimony to it. She had fantastic. Isn't Nicole? I was right. That's her name.
Nicole Jenkins White.
Nicole, thank you, Nicole. I'm gonna reference you a little bit. Nicole is a perfect example of someone who came from this side, went through, like she said, she had excellent training. There are good people inside of everywhere. They just put out a scathing report today about North Public Schools, that we lost traction under this first year of takeover, that our kids are not doing as well, attendance levels are down, blah, blah, whatever. That's all on paper. Nobody don't care what the Park exam say, because that ain't no real test. Let me just put that out there for y'all. Stop getting upset about Park. Somebody invented that. Somebody made a lot of money. Somebody from Edison schools, somebody from Pearson. They gave all these elected officials some money, particularly on the state level in New Jersey, the governor and that other lady over the Senate Education Committee. They got a lot of money to make sure that test was here.
The Rose?
Yes. The Ruizes and the Sweeneys. So anyway, and the Christies. Yes.
Ooh, I want to buckle
and
her knees real bad.
The book has made good money too. But we have to keep all of that in perspective. And we have to not be afraid to step out there and do. And those of you who are going to college, those of you who just graduated from college, and those of you who see the things that are going on and you have some compassion toward that, keep running, my children. Keep running, keep pushing, keep graduating. Get that paperwork, get in these fields, do that work. Reach out to Nicole, reach out to Louis Decree, reach out to people who are in that area. My mom will be up here soon. Reach out to my mother. She taught at Westside High School 31 years. Everybody, oh, how'd she do that? Because there are children there that excel. There was a time when the students at Westside High School, they were #1 in the nation in that science area from 2009, 2010, 2011. They were doing A1 too. So it's not about the building. It's not about the children that are in there, although we need to make sure they're secure and there's some education going on in there. But every child can learn. And Louis, you are exactly right. We are graduating children out of 8th grade, 12th grade that cannot read, that cannot function out there, that begin to go into adulthood and don't have the tools that they need to make it happen. And again, I have to implore parents to not be afraid to let your child stay back. And don't wait till they get to damn high school. Duh. And when your children in the younger ages, we talking about DIFAS intervention sometimes and things that's going on in the house, and sometimes we can't make our child and we don't understand why things are happening. That's why there's early interventions. And I'm going to say this on the record for sure. We don't have the best services here in North, bar none. But we got some excellent services here as well. So there's some things that's an A, and there's some things that's an F. And what we got to do is get those two to start meeting, so that there's services that cover us, that do what we need to do. I know Keisha Yuri, my girl, my partner, is really doing some things to work on trauma and work on people having, when I say that there's no services, there's limited services. So if there's 15 of us who lost somebody in our family, but there's only one service provider, they're not going to get us all in there. So for me, that's a no service. But Alterique Best is his place. The hub is going to become a trauma center now. And we need more of those though, because we are all in trauma. I know we don't like to have the conversation about the police, but let's just close your eyes for a minute, everybody. Just close your eyes. Put yourself in the police car. Put yourself riding down 18th Avenue. Shots fired. Respond to it. 4 people shot. 2 of them are children. One is 3 and one is 5. I'm just saying. The other one is 19 and the other person may be 25. How would you feel? What would you do? I know we got a lot of problems. I do. I know police are shooting people. I know police are killing people. I know we got those kind of issues, but you also have to understand what they're responding to. Now let's close your eyes. Let's be a firefighter. Let's respond to fire on South Orange Avenue, an apartment building. 15 apartments in there. It's like happened in New York the other day where the family lost their life on that 6th floor in that apartment building. Respond to that. What do you do? You're a firefighter. You're doing your best. You're trying to get up there to the apartment. There was 3 children, the mother and the father. All of them lost their lives in that fire. The oldest daughter, I think, was at work, and she made it. Imagine responding. Imagine coming out of there when you went as fast as you could and tried to get to that family and couldn't get them. These people are human. Everybody got to do it. Imagine yourself being a social worker, the caseworker at 18 Registry. Just 18 Registry. You're going to have to pause on that for a minute because we all don't like
Let it marinate.
Or 50 South.
Let it marinate.
But there are some good people in there.
I used to work there.
Mr. Best, outstanding. Mr. Best, give you appointment 7:30. Mr. Best there 7:15. You come in there 7:25. Mr. Best taking you, getting you done, and getting you out. The customer service level from him and others were good. Go ahead, Nicole. I know.
Yeah, you see that? I love her. Nicole says,
Hey, Stacey. Hey, Yvonne.
she says, I just ask that we as a Black family understand we must use other methods when it comes to discipline, punishment over our children.
Okay.
Based upon my caseload, our people are stuck on generational curses, and it's a serious problem. Spare the rod and spoil the child, but get your psycho checked. Some of us are at war within ourselves, and yeah, you can't take that out on the kid.
That's true.
You really can't.
Absolutely.
You can't beat the kid up for that.
Yeah.
Now, if
We do. We have, Nicole, we have some things going on. And I think that's why I say, even if we do it in our own building, even if we do it in our own block, we have the block meetings. I think that we just, as parents, need to come together. And there's going to be something that's difficult come at first. That's fine. If it's 5 of us, that's just loving each other. If it's 5 of us, that's just understanding. If I could just sit in the room and say, you know what, my daughter cussed at me yesterday and I punched her dead in the mouth. I know I bust a lip on the top and the bottom. Oh, and Nicole, you say to me, Donna, you really shouldn't have done that. I said, yeah, she really shouldn't have cussed at me, Nicole. And we could talk that, just to talk that through and to know that next time, maybe I just need to count to 10. Maybe I need to run in the bathroom and close the door. There are some things, we got popped. So, many of us, and you're absolutely right, Nicole. There's a difference between abuse and discipline. And I think that some of us, because we've all seen the mother shut the F up and they talking to a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, and you want to be like, itch, who you talking to? You want to say that. Many of us refrain from saying that because we know that's going to catapult into another whole argument with the mother and the kids are sitting there and blah, 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 blah. But I think we just don't. We digress. I think with the children on the bus, many of us will say something, have said something. And then you got the little one smart one in the crew that think they know it all. And they're going to be, who do you think you talking to? Who the F she talking to? Blah, blah, blah. Who you talking to? And see, sometimes when you come back at them with that, then the kids either help or hurt you. Ooh, he said that? You going to let him say that? You going to let her say? So we in this mode of these damn reality shows And I think that's playing a part too, Nicole. I think we too caught up in the damn Real Housewives of Atlanta, the doctors of medicine. I'm really about to write these chicks some letters. You are professional women and y'all fighting on TV for all to see. Now, I don't watch them all. I haven't seen the commercials. I haven't seen the ads for them to come on. And I've actually taken the time because you got to understand the psyche of our people. You know, they think they got to have the Gucci bag, the Coach bag, the Prada bag. You got to have the shoes, the red bottom shoes on. You got to make sure you got the underwear from this store, that store. The dress got to be too tight. And every one of these shows, their boobs got to be all the way out. There's no more, keep it in the package till you deliver it to the person. You for sale right out the door. And I think that, Nicole, on top of everything that you're talking about, that all plays into our psyche, because what we used to say back in the day, trying to keep up with the Joneses, well, these are new kind of Joneses that most of us can't keep up with, and we try. $400 for a daggone pair of damn sneakers for Raheem, and he ain't did no damn homework. Now, the boy ain't took out their bag of garbage, ain't washed their dish. Listen. Ain't did no homework. That report card was looking like one we would have got killed for. And he got him a $400 pair of sneakers. Parent, can you call me and explain to me how he even qualify for anything above a PA that we used to buy out of Food Town?
Baby, you remember them things out of Food Town? Listen, a couple of things because we gotta get out of here. First of all, thank you to everybody for participating in the conversation, particularly and as always, Nicole Watson Jenkins. I want to thank you.
Our corresponding clinical
social worker
person.
Absolutely. Kiki Stewart, whom I love, also asked this question, and I think it's just something that we need to ponder. Where did it go? Oh, it says, when you're dealing with a trifling family, how can you win? How do you fix it? So Nicole Watson Jenkins and of course Mother Donna, we're gonna ponder that question and we're gonna come back with some solutions is what we're gonna do, because that's what this is about. One more thing, share the video. I need y'all to share the video, and I'm going to put it on YouTube by tomorrow, so it'll be up there.
And I'll give you something real quick to deal with the trifling family.
Okay.
Give an example of another trifling family. I'm trying to tell you. Take that situation and put it in Shafaquita name. So that she ain't looking at her. I'm trying to tell you it works. Say, Shafaquita down the street, she don't wash her kids, she don't do their hair. You ain't talking about her. So now you get a better response. That's just the beginning. But we'll come back definitely, Kia. Absolutely. Definitely come back and talk about that. Absolutely. Excellent question.
And Nicole Watson Jenkins said this to any parent, and listen to the name again, Nicole Watson Jenkins, who works in social service with kids. Right. I'm not naming agencies. I'm not sure. Right. She said, call her first. That's what she put in the comments. So I'm not saying anything. I'm not putting anything on her. It says it's this comment right here. It's right there. Yeah. Call me first. Yeah. Before you wear your child out relentlessly, because I understand, like, I don't have kids, but I have nieces and nephews, and I'm often called upon to be a disciplinarian. Absolutely. And when you have a 13-year-old who stands almost 6 feet tall, and I'm nowhere near that, looking down at you, sometimes your first response is to feel threatened and defensive. Especially when you go towards them and they throw their hands up or something. Oh, what? So you got to be careful, particularly nowadays. But the other thing I need everybody to ponder is how they're taking away the children. Yeah. They're trying to take away the reproductive rights of women. Yep, they are. Yes. And we need to be more responsible when we're sharing information. Those are the things that I need y'all to take away from this tonight. Okay. When you're sharing information, I'm going to say this and we're going to get out of here. When my grandfather died, one of my cousins was trying to just get the information to everybody, and she sent a text. And I had to call her, like, you don't know where I was when I got that text message. Yeah. I could have been on the highway. I could have been anywhere and caused some damage receiving a text of that magnitude. You have to be responsible with the information that you're sharing. If you weren't here in the beginning, we were talking about videos where people are fighting, videos where people are being harmed, if a girl is being assaulted or raped, or if a boy is being assaulted or raped, if somebody is being harmed in any way that you wouldn't want done to you. Let's make it real simple. Anything that you wouldn't want done to you and broadcast across social media, think twice about sharing that video, because you don't know the person. somehow it's going to get back to them. They're going to see how many times it was shared, how many people viewed it, and that's going to walk with them every day. Be more responsible. Just think about it before you think about world star. Before you do all of that, think about the video and the person in the video and how it might affect them.
And look at the increase in suicide. We'll talk about that next time. Look at the increase in suicide in our community where we never had that before. Look at children now trying to take their lives, and a lot of that, most of that is connected to social media. They did something dumb, knew they shouldn't have did it when they did it, but they was like, okay, let me get this 5 minutes of fame. Some young ladies taking pictures with these guys, some young people taking pictures with these boys in school. Like, let me get a picture, and you think they won't share it. And that's what I'm going to leave y'all with caution, particularly my daughters and my sons. You in relationships where you don't know people or you think you know them. You didn't see them before, you 2 years, and that's the love of your life. Okay. When you taking them naked pictures, Rahima, Shafaquita,
listen,
Donna, Beth, Maria, Sandra, Malik,
listen,
Raheem, Bob, John, and the rest of y'all. Osway.
Got to be more careful.
You guys have to, and I don't know anybody particularly in those names, and I know people that's all those names. Just using them as examples. You guys got to be careful because it's devastating to the young lady, the young man, when you post those pictures that they weren't expecting to happen. Then you got all these reactions. Then you got people calling them names, and we are all not built the same. And any kind of scrutiny sometimes hurts. And I'm just gonna tell you guys, be careful because this suicide thing is serious. People hurting themselves is serious. People being in pain. We gotta stop making so much fun out of pain because pain is not something to make fun of. These reality shows are not the reality.
No.
These reality shows are not the reality, young people and old people too. It ain't popping about what you're wearing and what you got on. It's popping about what's up in here. And we need to move our children to better intellect. All of us, the 40 and over crew, we had to go to school. We made sure we did our homework. When you got that punishment out with not true gum in class, you was doing it. You got popped at home when you got that. You got staying in the corner. And I agree with you, Nicole. We have to find other strategies to do discipline with our children. But I've seen children when the mothers take the phones and take the computers and all that other kind of stuff because we've allowed them to lean on them as their crutch. Our kids don't come out the room. They don't go outside and play anymore. They don't want to be outside, outdoors. Everything is computer, phone. We have to come up with strategies. We got to work together, parents, to do that and save our children because this thing is getting serious out here while we're not watching. And the latest research says our children should not be touching these electronics before the age of 13. They should not be. How many of them know the house number, your number? When something happened and they don't have that phone, how many of your children could call you? How many phone numbers? How many phone numbers you used to know?
Oh, we might have to do
when we was little, grandma number, the house number, daddy work number, mommy work number, all of that. We don't know none of that now. We cannot be so dependent on these electronics because when they go down, we go down. Love you all. Thanks everybody for tuning in. This was a wonderful show today.
Absolutely.
Thanks for the feedback. Love you all. This was great. We're going to come back. We're going to continue to talk about it.
Yes.
Hey, what's going on, Mr. Jones? Turner, love you. But we have to definitely continue. Wadia, thank you so much. Wadia, what we talked about that a month ago. The sad thing is our children don't even know how to sign their name.
That was on the last episode.
We talked about that the last show.
That was.
We have to, we got to get back to that. And let me just say this, y'all. They got the penmanship books in the 99-cent store. We're going to have to bring it in the house.
You don't got to wait for the school.
Get the penmanship book, and we're going to teach them how to write cursive ourselves until we get to these board meetings and do what we need to do and institute cursive writing again. It must happen. People are taking their children to the banks to open up bank accounts for them. We need to do school banking again. So a whole lot we need to do. So part 2 coming up.
Absolutely.
Love y'all. Good night,
love you guys so much. Shout out to everybody out there who will be later tuning in on Ustream and YouTube and Megastar Radio, SWA Radio, and GF. That's 5 radio stations. conversations. We are out here. So we need y'all to share this video like crazy because we about to take things to another level.
Yes, we are.
I want to thank everybody for joining us. The conversation was amazing.
Yes, it was.
And this is the these are the types of conversations that we want. I love
Thank
Nicole.
you so much, Nicole.
You got to meet her. Nicole is coming to the show.
Good.
We're gonna set up. You want to come? You want to be there when she comes?
If Nicole, will you have me?
Absolutely. We go just inbox us and let us know. We're gonna bring you here because Nicole has already agreed. So we're gonna bring Nicole because we need that expertise because I need y'all to know when y'all go out in the streets and y'all have to talk to these people, y'all need as much information as possible, which is why we here. We know the people to get. We're gonna bring them to you, and we're gonna set them right here. All right. So once again, it's RPD. It's me, BDS, and Mama Donna. We are out of here. We thank you. We love you. We'll see y'all next month. Or if not before that, because we got some things coming up. So y'all just stay tuned.
Yes, we do.
All right.
Don't worry when.
So come on and come on.
Great.
So that I could get ready. No, this one isn't even on. It's just.
I'll just on my mouth.